In the philosophy of Stoicism, recognizing human vulnerability is not about judgment, but about understanding. This applies to both men and women, as each gender faces unique challenges shaped by biology, culture, and experience. Women, in particular, navigate a world that often places disproportionate expectations on their emotions, roles, and relationships. These hidden challenges, or weaknesses, are not flaws but opportunities for growth, both for the woman herself and for the man who chooses to stand beside her. As a man guided by Stoic principles, it is crucial to approach these aspects with wisdom, empathy, and clarity. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." This means that while you must cultivate discipline and resilience within your own life, you must also show compassion and understanding toward the struggles of others. A woman's vulnerabilities are not to be exploited or corrected, but rather respected and supported. This guide is not about stereotyping or making broad assumptions. Every woman is unique, and these hidden weaknesses are not universal truths. Instead, they are common patterns rooted in human nature and societal constructs that you, as a thoughtful and stoic man, can learn to navigate. By understanding these aspects, you can foster stronger, healthier relationships, not by fixing or controlling, but by empowering her to embrace her strengths and overcome challenges. In the following chapters, we will explore 10 hidden weaknesses of women through the lens of Stoicism. Each chapter will provide insights into these vulnerabilities and practical ways for men to respond with patience, wisdom, and integrity. Remember, true strength lies in building others up, not in tearing them down. Women are often celebrated for their remarkable capacity for emotional depth and empathy. This ability to connect with others on a profound emotional level is one of their greatest strengths. It allows them to form strong relationships, understand others' needs, and nurture bonds in ways that are truly remarkable. However, as with all strengths, it comes with its own set of challenges. Emotional vulnerability can leave women more exposed to pain, heartbreak, and the weight of others' burdens. For a Stoic man, understanding this dual-edged nature of emotional depth is essential. From a Stoic perspective, emotions are natural and should be acknowledged, but they should not rule over one's sense of reason. Women, by their empathetic nature, may sometimes become overwhelmed by their own emotions or the emotions of others. This is not a weakness in the pejorative sense, but a facet of their being that requires balance. A Stoic man can play an important role in helping to restore that balance, not by dismissing emotions, but by being a grounding force when emotions run high. When you notice a woman grappling with emotional vulnerability, practice active listening. Allow her to express herself without interrupting or offering immediate solutions. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never a need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control." In this context, you cannot always fix her problems, nor is it your role to do so. Your job is to provide a calm and non-judgmental presence, enabling her to navigate her emotions without feeling alone or judged. Emotional vulnerability can also manifest as heightened sensitivity to criticism or conflict. Women may sometimes feel deeply affected by things that seem trivial to others. Instead of minimizing these feelings, a Stoic man approaches them with compassion, validate her experience without necessarily agreeing with every perspective. By doing so, you offer a space where she feels safe and understood, which can be profoundly healing. Empathy, another key aspect of emotional depth, can lead women to absorb the struggles and pain of others to an unhealthy degree. A woman with a highly empathetic nature might feel drained or overwhelmed by the suffering of those around her. A Stoic man can gently remind her of the boundaries of her influence and the importance of preserving her own energy. Epictetus taught that we must distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. Encourage her to focus on what she can genuinely impact and release what lies beyond her power. Finally, it's crucial to remember that emotional vulnerability is not a flaw to be fixed. It is a reminder of the humanity that binds us all. As a Stoic man, you are not there to change or control her emotional experience, but to support her in understanding and channeling it constructively. By embodying calmness and stability in your own life, you become a model for her to find her equilibrium. In this way, emotional vulnerability becomes a shared journey of growth and resilience. Through patience and wisdom, you create an environment where she feels empowered to embrace her emotions without being consumed by them. It is in this balance that the Stoic approach reveals its true value, not in avoiding emotions, but in mastering their influence on our lives. Overthinking is a challenge that many women face, often driven by their innate ability to perceive subtle details and nuances in their environment. This heightened awareness can lead to a tendency to replay conversations, analyze interactions, and question decisions long after they have occurred. While this reflective quality can be a strength in making thoughtful choices, it can also become a source of self-doubt, anxiety, and paralysis. For a Stoic man, understanding this pattern and providing steady guidance can help alleviate the burden of overthinking without diminishing her thoughtful nature. In the Stoic philosophy, overthinking arises from focusing too much on outcomes beyond our control. Women, often influenced by societal expectations and cultural pressures, may feel compelled to analyze every situation to ensure they are meeting these external demands. They may worry about how their actions are perceived, whether they said the right thing, or how future events will unfold. These spiraling thoughts can drain energy and obscure clarity. As Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. A Stoic man can gently guide her to recognize this truth, helping her focus on what she can control, her intentions, actions, and values, while letting go of the rest. This shift from external to internal focus can reduce the mental clutter that overthinking creates. Self-doubt often accompanies overthinking, creating a cycle where fear of making the wrong decision prevents any decision at all. Women might question their capabilities or feel inadequate, even when they are more than capable of succeeding. This phenomenon, sometimes referred to as the imposter syndrome, is a hidden weakness that can undermine confidence and hinder growth. As a Stoic partner, your role is not to fix her self-doubt, but to offer perspective and encouragement. Epictetus reminds us, man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. In moments of self-doubt, remind her gently that many of her fears are based on scenarios that may never come to pass. Help her focus on the evidence of her past successes and the effort she puts into her endeavors, rather than dwelling on imagined shortcomings. Encourage her to take small, actionable steps toward her goals, reinforcing the idea that progress matters more than perfection. Listening is another critical tool. When a woman is caught in a cycle of overthinking, she may not be looking for solutions, but rather a space to voice her thoughts. By listening attentively without interrupting or dismissing her concerns, you provide a safe environment for her to process her thoughts. Once she has shared her worries, you can gently help her untangle the threads of overthinking by asking, "What's the worst that could happen?" or "What can you do right now to address this?" These questions can shift her focus from fear to action, a cornerstone of Stoic practice. Another aspect of overthinking is the tendency to take responsibility for situations beyond her control. Women, due to their nurturing nature, may feel compelled to resolve conflicts, anticipate others' needs, or fix problems that are not theirs to solve. This self-imposed responsibility can lead to burnout and resentment. A Stoic man can help by modeling boundaries and reinforcing the principle of controlling the controllable. Share the wisdom that true peace comes not from fixing everything, but from accepting what lies beyond our influence. Moreover, remind her that perfection is an illusion. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This is particularly relevant for those who overthink, as the mind can create scenarios far more distressing than reality. Encourage her to embrace imperfection as part of life's natural flow, understanding that no decision or action is entirely free from flaws or risks. Finally, be a role model in your own approach to decision-making and emotional regulation. Show her through your actions how you handle uncertainty and setbacks with grace and composure. Your calm demeanor in the face of challenges can inspire her to approach her own struggles with a similar mindset. Demonstrating the Stoic principles of clarity, focus, and acceptance will create an environment where overthinking and self-doubt can be mitigated. In helping her navigate these challenges, remember that your role is not to control or fix her, but to empower her to harness her strengths and quiet her fears. Overthinking and self-doubt, when understood and managed, can transform into valuable tools for reflection and growth. By providing steady, Stoic support, you help her see that her inner strength far outweighs the shadows of her doubts. The fear of judgment is a challenge many women face, often shaped by societal expectations and cultural norms. This fear can manifest in various ways: hesitation to speak up, reluctance to pursue personal goals, or anxiety about how others perceive their actions, appearance, or choices. From a Stoic perspective, this fear represents a misplaced focus on external validation rather than internal worth. A Stoic man, rooted in the philosophy of self-mastery, can offer a grounding presence to help a woman overcome this fear and embrace her authentic self. Stoicism teaches us to separate what is within our control from what is not. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." A woman fearing judgment often fixates on how others might perceive her actions, an aspect completely outside her control. As a Stoic man, you can gently remind her that opinions are as fleeting as the people who hold them. Encourage her to focus instead on her own intentions, values, and actions, things she can truly control. This fear often stems from a desire to meet external standards. Women may feel the pressure to fit into predefined roles, whether as professionals, partners, or caregivers. These expectations, often conflicting and unrealistic, can lead to self-doubt and paralysis. A Stoic man can provide support by emphasizing the importance of living in alignment with her own principles rather than societal demands. Seneca advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Be the kind of partner who encourages her to define success and happiness on her own terms. So practically, you can help her reframe situations where the fear of judgment arises. For example, if she hesitates to share her ideas in a meeting or pursue a new opportunity because she fears being criticized, remind her of the Stoic view that true worth lies in effort, not outcome. Applaud her courage to act, regardless of others' opinions. Share the insight that criticism is often more about the critic than the criticized, a reflection of their biases, not her value. It's also important to acknowledge the emotional aspect of this fear. Fear of judgment is not merely a rational concern. It is often tied to feelings of vulnerability and insecurity. Listen empathetically when she shares her worries, validating her feelings without reinforcing the fear. A simple, "I understand why this feels difficult," can go a long way in creating a space where she feels supported rather than dismissed. Modeling Stoic behavior in your own life can also serve as a powerful influence. When you demonstrate confidence in your decisions and a disregard for unwarranted criticism, you provide a living example of how to rise above the fear of judgment. Share your experiences of facing criticism and how you chose to focus on your principles instead of external opinions. This transparency can inspire her to adopt a similar mindset. Encourage her to build resilience by taking small, intentional steps outside her comfort zone. If she hesitates to express herself for fear of judgment, suggest trying it in a low-stakes environment. Gradually, as she experiences that criticism is rarely as harsh or lasting as it seems, she will build confidence. This aligns with Epictetus's wisdom. It is not events that disturb people, it is their judgment concerning them. Lastly, remind her of the liberating power of self-acceptance. When she learns to value herself based on her own beliefs and efforts rather than others' opinions, she will find true freedom. As a Stoic partner, you can gently guide her toward this realization, offering steady support and encouragement as she navigates the path to self-assurance. The fear of judgment is a significant hurdle, but with patience, understanding, and the wisdom of Stoicism, it can be overcome. By helping her focus on her inner compass and detach from the opinions of others, you empower her to live authentically and confidently. In doing so, you also strengthen the bond of trust and mutual growth in your relationship, creating a foundation built on respect, courage, and shared resilience. Setting boundaries is a challenge that many women face, often due to their natural inclination toward nurturing and care. Women are often taught, either explicitly or implicitly, that their worth lies in their ability to give to their families, their partners, their friends, or their work. While this generosity is a remarkable strength, it can lead to exhaustion and resentment when taken to the extreme. The inability to say no or prioritize personal needs becomes a hidden weakness that affects both emotional and physical well-being. As a Stoic man, your role is to help her see the value of boundaries, not as a rejection of others, but as an affirmation of self-respect. Stoicism teaches us that balance and moderation are key to a fulfilling life. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do not waste the remaining part of your life in thoughts about others, unless you are doing so for the common good." This wisdom applies directly to the struggle of overcommitment. A woman who cannot set boundaries often spends her energy on things that may not align with her values or serve her well-being. Encouraging her to evaluate her commitments and align them with her priorities is an act of support that reflects Stoic principles. One of the reasons women struggle with setting boundaries is the fear of disappointing others or being perceived as selfish. They may feel obligated to say yes to every request, even at their own expense. A Stoic can offer reassurance that self-care is not selfish. Epictetus reminds us, "You are a little soul carrying around a corpse." This stark yet profound statement emphasizes the importance of nurturing the self. For without personal strength, one cannot effectively help others. Help her recognize that boundaries are not walls, but bridges. Bridges that connect her to her own needs while maintaining healthy relationships with others. When she learns to set boundaries, she will discover that saying no to one thing often means saying yes to something more meaningful. For example, declining an extra project at work might allow her to spend more time on her personal growth or with loved ones. Encourage her to view boundaries as an act of intentional living, not rejection. Practically, you can support her by helping her articulate and practice setting boundaries in low-pressure situations. role-playing conversations where she might need to assert herself can build her confidence. You can also share Stoic techniques, such as rehearsing scenarios mentally to prepare for potentially difficult interactions. By practicing responses and focusing on what is within her control, her words and demeanor, she can navigate boundary setting with greater ease. Boundaries also extend to emotional energy. Women often absorb the emotions of those around them, taking on the burdens of others to the detriment of their own peace of mind. A Stoic man can encourage her to recognize that while empathy is important, it does not mean carrying the weight of every problem she encounters. Epictetus advises, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Helping her apply this principle to emotional boundaries can empower her to empathize without becoming overwhelmed. As her partner, demonstrate your respect for her boundaries by honoring her decisions when she sets them. If she expresses the need for personal time or declines a favor, accept it without pressuring her or making her feel guilty. Your actions will reinforce the idea that setting boundaries is a sign of strength, not weakness. By respecting her limits, you also model healthy behavior, encouraging her to uphold her boundaries in other areas of her life. Lastly, remind her that boundaries are a form of self-respect and an essential aspect of a balanced life. Seneca wrote, "If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person." Encourage her to view boundaries not as external limitations, but as an internal commitment to her values, health, and happiness. The struggle with setting boundaries is one that many women face, but it is not insurmountable. With your support and the guidance of Stoic principles, she can learn to embrace boundaries as a source of strength and self-respect. By helping her cultivate this balance, you empower her to lead a more intentional, fulfilling life and foster a relationship rooted in mutual understanding and respect. The desire for security, whether emotional, financial, or physical, is a natural human instinct, but for many women, it can manifest as a hidden vulnerability. This is not a weakness in the sense of deficiency, but rather a reflection of the deeply ingrained need for stability in a world that often feels uncertain. From a Stoic perspective, security is an internal state rather than an external guarantee. A Stoic man, therefore, plays a vital role in helping a woman navigate this desire, not by promising certainty, but by fostering a sense of resilience and trust in herself. Women often face societal and cultural pressures that amplify their desire for security. These pressures might come from traditional roles that emphasize dependence on others, or from experiences that have shown them the potential dangers of an unstable environment. While this desire for security is entirely valid, it can sometimes lead to over-reliance on external factors, partners, jobs, or circumstances, for a sense of safety. The Stoic approach teaches us to build security from within, focusing on the aspects of life that are within our control. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This wisdom applies here because true security comes from mastering one's thoughts, emotions, and reactions. A Stoic man can gently guide her toward understanding this principle, showing her that while external factors can provide a sense of comfort, they are ultimately impermanent. Instead of trying to shield her from every hardship, support her in developing inner strength so she can face challenges with confidence and composure. Emotional security is often tied to trust and consistency in relationships. A woman who feels uncertain about the stability of her relationship may experience heightened anxiety or fear of abandonment. As a Stoic man, you can address this by embodying reliability and integrity in your actions. Consistency is key. When your words and actions align, you provide a foundation of trust that helps her feel secure. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." By living this principle, you not only create emotional security, but also inspire her to trust in the strength of the relationship. Financial security is another significant concern for many women, shaped by societal structures and personal experiences. Women who have faced economic instability or unequal opportunities may feel an intensified need for financial safety. While you cannot solve systemic issues single-handedly, you can encourage her to take proactive steps toward financial independence and empowerment. Share the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within her control, saving, learning, and making informed decisions. Support her goals and celebrate her achievements, reinforcing her sense of autonomy. Physical security is an area where women often feel particularly vulnerable, especially in environments that pose real risks. A Stoic man should approach this with both practicality and empathy. Take steps to ensure her safety without fostering unnecessary fear. Encourage her to develop skills such as self-defense or situational awareness, emphasizing preparedness rather than paranoia. As Seneca observed, the bravest sight in the world is to see a great man struggling against adversity. Your calm and composed demeanor in potentially challenging situations can reassure her and model resilience. Helping her navigate her desire for security also involves addressing the underlying fear of uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable, and no amount of preparation can eliminate all risks. Stoicism teaches us to embrace uncertainty as part of the human experience. Encourage her to adopt the mindset that while she cannot control every outcome, she can control her response to uncertainty. This shift in perspective transforms fear into a source of strength, empowering her to face life's challenges with grace. In your relationship, create an environment where she feels secure, not because you promise a life free from challenges, but because you embody steadfastness and mutual respect. Encourage open communication about her concerns and listen without dismissing her fears. By acknowledging and validating her feelings, you show her that security is not about eliminating fear, but about finding courage and strength in the face of it. Finally, remind her that the ultimate form of security comes from within. Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Help her see that true security lies in cultivating inner resilience, self-reliance, and the ability to adapt to whatever life brings. With this understanding, the desire for security becomes not a source of weakness, but a pathway to empowerment. By addressing her desire for security through the lens of Stoicism, you offer her not just temporary comfort, but lasting tools for self-growth. Together, you can build a relationship that is rooted in mutual trust, strength, and the courage to face life's uncertainties with confidence. Sensitivity to criticism is a common human trait, but it often manifests more acutely in women due to societal pressures and expectations. Women are frequently held to high standards, whether in their appearance, career, relationships, or behavior, and this can make them more vulnerable to the sting of criticism. From a Stoic perspective, criticism is an external event, one that has no power to harm unless we grant it permission. As a Stoic man, your role is to help her navigate the challenges of criticism with grace, self-awareness, and resilience, offering support without enabling self-doubt. Sensitivity to criticism often arises from the desire to be accepted and valued by others. Women, in particular, may internalize criticism more deeply, viewing it not just as feedback, but as a reflection of their worth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle is essential in addressing sensitivity to criticism. By shifting focus from external validation to internal values, she can begin to see criticism as a tool for growth rather than a threat to her identity. One of the first steps in helping her manage sensitivity to criticism is to provide a safe space where she feels valued and understood. When she shares her feelings about a critical comment, listen attentively without dismissing or trivializing her emotions. Empathy is key. Instead of saying, "It's not a big deal," try something like, "I can see why that would hurt." This validation helps her feel supported and creates an opportunity to discuss how she might process the criticism constructively. Stoicism teaches us to separate constructive feedback from baseless criticism. Epictetus advised, "If someone speaks ill of you, don't make excuses, but reply, 'You don't know the half of it, for you could have said much more.'" This humor and humility highlight the Stoic ability to rise above petty remarks. Encourage her to adopt a similar perspective by evaluating the source and intent of the criticism. Is it coming from someone whose opinion she values? Does it offer insights that can help her improve? If not, it may be best to let it go. Help her understand that criticism often says more about the critic than the criticized. People's opinions are colored by their own insecurities, biases, and experiences. By recognizing this, she can detach from the emotional impact of unwarranted criticism. Remind her that she has no control over others' words, but complete control over how she chooses to respond. This shift in focus from external to internal is a cornerstone of Stoic thought. Criticism can also trigger a fear of failure, making her hesitant to take risks or express herself. A Stoic man can counteract this by celebrating her courage rather than focusing on the outcome. For instance, if she receives negative feedback on a work presentation, acknowledge her effort and bravery in delivering it rather than dwelling on the critique. By reframing criticism as a natural part of growth, you help her build confidence and resilience. Additionally, encourage her to practice self-compassion. Sensitivity to criticism often stems from a harsh inner critic. Women who are sensitive to external criticism are frequently even more critical of themselves. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Help her see that mistakes and criticism are opportunities to prove her strength and grow, not reasons to doubt her worth. Encourage her to treat herself with the same kindness and understanding she would offer a friend. Teaching her to view criticism through a Stoic lens doesn't mean encouraging emotional suppression. It's important to acknowledge that feeling hurt by criticism is natural and human. The goal is not to eliminate sensitivity, but to respond to it in a way that fosters growth and resilience. For example, if a harsh comment about her appearance or abilities deeply affects her, guide her to focus on what truly defines her, her character, actions, and values. Another practical approach is helping her develop techniques for emotional regulation. Stoics advocate mindfulness as a tool for managing negative emotions. Encourage her to pause, breathe, and reflect before reacting to criticism. Journaling can also be a powerful tool for processing emotions and gaining perspective. By writing down her feelings about a critical remark, she can analyze whether it aligns with her values or deserves her attention. As her partner, you can also model a healthy response to criticism. Share your own experiences of dealing with negative feedback and how you used it to improve. Show her that even when criticism stings, it doesn't define you. Your calm and thoughtful reaction can inspire her to handle similar situations with greater confidence. Finally, remind her that no one can please everyone. Seneca wisely said, "Be indifferent to what makes no difference." Help her focus on living a life aligned with her own values rather than trying to meet the expectations of others. Criticism will come and go, but her commitment to her principles will remain a constant source of strength. Sensitivity to criticism, when understood and managed, can become a pathway to self-awareness and growth. By supporting her with Stoic wisdom and empathy, You help her transform the pain of criticism into an opportunity for self-improvement and empowerment. Together, you can create a relationship where both partners feel valued, supported, and resilient in the face of life's inevitable challenges. Failure is a universal human experience, yet for many women, the fear of failure can take on an intensified form due to societal pressures and personal expectations. This fear often stems from deeply ingrained perfectionism, the weight of societal judgment, or past experiences that have shaped their beliefs about success and worth. While the fear of failure is natural, it can become paralyzing, preventing her from pursuing goals, taking risks, or fully expressing herself. A Stoic man can play a transformative role by helping her see failure not as a final verdict, but as an essential and valuable part of life's journey. Stoicism teaches that failure is neither inherently good nor bad. It is simply a result of circumstances. What matters is how we respond to it. Epictetus wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This perspective is crucial in addressing the fear of failure. By focusing on her response rather than the outcome, she can begin to reframe failure as an opportunity for growth rather than a reflection of inadequacy. For many women, the fear of failure is compounded by societal expectations. They may feel the need to excel in multiple roles, professional, personal, social, without ever faltering. This pressure to be perfect can make any setback feel like a catastrophic event. A Stoic man can gently remind her that perfection is an illusion, and even the most accomplished individuals face failures. Share examples of how setbacks have been pivotal in your own life, emphasizing that failure is often the bridge to success. Encourage her to redefine success on her own terms. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Help her understand that success is not about meeting external standards, but about aligning her actions with her values and putting forth her best effort. By focusing on what she can control, her attitude, effort, and integrity, she can let go of the anxiety surrounding uncontrollable outcomes. One of the most paralyzing aspects of the fear of failure is the anticipation of judgment from others. Women often worry about how their failures will be perceived, leading to hesitation in taking risks or trying new things. A Stoic man can create an environment where she feels safe to fail. Celebrate her courage to try rather than fixating on the result. When she sees that you value her effort and resilience over perfection, she will feel more empowered to embrace challenges. Help her confront the fear of failure by taking small, calculated risks. Encourage her to step outside her comfort zone in areas where the stakes are manageable. For instance, if she's hesitant to take on a new project at work, remind her that every great achievement begins with a willingness to try. Epictetus said, "The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it." With each small victory, her confidence will grow and her fear of failure will diminish. Teach her the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils. This involves visualizing potential failures and their consequences in advance, not to dwell on negativity, but to prepare mentally for challenges. By imagining what could go wrong, she can develop strategies for coping and reduce the fear of the unknown. For example, if she fears failing in a presentation, encourage her to consider the worst-case scenario and how she would handle it. Often, she'll realize that the consequences are less dire than her imagination suggests. Another important aspect of overcoming the fear of failure is cultivating resilience. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Remind her that failure is not an endpoint, but a step along the path to growth. When she encounters setbacks, encourage her to analyze what went wrong, learn from the experience, and move forward with renewed determination. Frame failure as a teacher, not a judge. As her partner, model resilience in your own life. Share how you've faced failures with grace and used them as opportunities to improve. Show her that setbacks are not only survivable, but often necessary for growth. Your example can inspire her to approach her own challenges with a similar mindset. Fear of failure often intertwines with self-doubt, creating a cycle that can be difficult to break. A Stoic man can counteract this by consistently affirming her strengths and capabilities. When she doubts herself, remind her of past successes and the effort she put into achieving them. Encourage her to focus on her progress rather than perfection. By doing so, you help her replace fear with confidence and determination. Lastly, remind her that failure does not define her worth. Seneca wisely observed, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." Encourage her to stay present and focus on the task at hand, rather than worrying about hypothetical outcomes. The Stoic principle of living in the present moment can be a powerful antidote to the fear of failure, shifting her focus from anxiety about the future to appreciation of her current efforts. In helping her address the fear of failure, you foster a mindset of courage, resilience, and self-compassion. By reframing failure as a necessary and even valuable part of life, you empower her to pursue her goals with confidence. Together, you can create a partnership rooted in mutual support, growth, and the shared belief that failure is not something to fear, but something to embrace as a stepping stone to success. Emotional dependency can manifest as an over-reliance on external sources, partners, friends, or family for validation, support, or happiness. For many women, societal conditioning has emphasized relational ties and emotional connection, sometimes at the expense of fostering independence. While emotional connections are vital and natural, an imbalance can lead to dependency, where a woman might feel incomplete or lost without the constant affirmation or presence of others. From a Stoic perspective, true contentment and strength come from within, not from external sources. A Stoic man can help her cultivate this inner resilience and balance while still valuing the beauty of emotional bonds. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This statement applies equally to women, particularly in the context of emotional dependency. Dependency often stems from a fear of loneliness or inadequacy, leading to the belief that happiness is contingent on others. A Stoic man, grounded in his own sense of independence, can guide her toward understanding that her value and happiness are intrinsic and not reliant on external validation. One way to help her navigate emotional dependency is by fostering her sense of self-reliance. Encourage her to pursue interests, hobbies, and goals that are entirely her own. When she invests in personal growth and passions, she builds a stronger connection to herself, reducing the need for constant external affirmation. Celebrate her individuality and encourage her to take pride in her achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Emotional dependency often arises from insecurity or fear of rejection. Women who experience this may hesitate to express their true thoughts or feelings, worried that doing so might jeopardize their relationships. As a Stoic man, you can create a safe space for her to be authentic. Listen without judgment, validate her emotions, and reassure her that she is valued for who she is, not for how well she conforms to others' expectations. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In this context, the enemy is fear. Help her rise above it by encouraging openness and self-trust. At the same time, it's important to model healthy emotional independence in your own behavior. Show her that while you value and cherish the relationship, your happiness and self-worth do not solely depend on her. This doesn't mean creating emotional distance. Rather, it demonstrates that you can be a strong, supportive partner while maintaining your individuality. Your example can inspire her to adopt a similar approach, finding strength in both herself and the partnership. Teach her to apply the Stoic principle of controlling the controllable. Emotional dependency often leads to anxiety about the stability of relationships or the reactions of others. Encourage her to focus on what she can control, her actions, her words, and her mindset, while letting go of the need to control how others respond. This shift in focus can help her find peace and confidence in herself. Another practical step is to gently challenge any behaviors that reinforce dependency. For example, if she frequently seeks reassurance about her worth or your feelings, provide a calm and steady response, but also encourage her to reflect on her own strengths. You might say, "I see so many amazing qualities in you. Can you take a moment to see them too?" This approach balances support with empowerment, helping her build internal validation. Encourage her to practice self-care as a way of strengthening her emotional foundation. Activities like journaling, meditation, or physical exercise can help her reconnect with herself and build resilience. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of maintaining a healthy mind and body as a foundation for inner strength. Share practices that have helped you cultivate emotional stability, such as mindfulness or reflecting on what truly matters in life. It's also essential to address any underlying fears that drive emotional dependency. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Fear of abandonment or inadequacy often stems from imagined scenarios rather than actual events. Help her confront these fears by discussing them openly and encouraging her to examine their validity. When she realizes that many of these fears are unfounded, she can begin to let go of their grip. Lastly, emphasize the value of balanced relationships. A healthy relationship is built on mutual respect, trust, and interdependence, not dependency. Let her know that her independence doesn't diminish your connection but strengthens it. When both partners are secure in themselves, the relationship becomes a source of joy and growth rather than a crutch. By addressing emotional dependency with empathy and Stoic wisdom, you empower her to cultivate inner strength and self-worth. In doing so, you create a relationship where both partners can thrive as individuals while supporting one another. This balance of independence and connection is the foundation of a fulfilling and enduring partnership. Balancing ambition with societal and personal expectations is a challenge many women face. Women are often caught in a tug-of-war between pursuing their goals and meeting the expectations imposed by family, culture, or even their own internalized beliefs. This conflict can lead to stress, self-doubt, and a sense of being stretched too thin. From a Stoic perspective, the key to resolving this tension lies in aligning actions with personal values rather than external pressures. A Stoic man can play a supportive role by encouraging her to embrace her ambitions while maintaining clarity and focus on what truly matters. Stoicism teaches us to prioritize what is essential and let go of distractions. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If you seek tranquility, do less, or more accurately, do what's essential." For a woman striving to balance ambition with expectations, this principle can be transformative. Help her reflect on what truly aligns with her values and long-term goals. Encourage her to say no to obligations that do not serve her priorities, freeing up time and energy for what matters most. One of the key struggles in this balance is the fear of judgment. Women often face scrutiny for their choices, whether they prioritize their careers, family, or personal passions. This societal pressure can lead to guilt or hesitation in pursuing their ambitions. A Stoic man can help her see that others' opinions are beyond her control and do not define her worth. Epictetus reminds us it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. Encourage her to trust her inner compass rather than conforming to others' expectations. In practical terms, you can support her by helping her create boundaries. When she feels overwhelmed by conflicting demands, work with her to identify what is essential and what can be set aside. For example, if she's torn between excelling at work and meeting family obligations, encourage her to evaluate how each commitment aligns with her values. Remind her that she cannot be everything to everyone, and that prioritizing herself is not selfish, but necessary for long-term success and well-being. Another challenge in balancing ambition with expectations is the fear of failure or falling short. Women often feel the need to overcompensate to prove their worth, leading to burnout. A Stoic man can provide a grounding presence, reminding her that perfection is not the goal, progress is. Seneca wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." Help her focus on doing a few things well rather than spreading herself too thin. Encourage her to practice self-compassion when she faces setbacks. Women often internalize failures more deeply than men, seeing them as personal shortcomings rather than learning experiences. Share the Stoic perspective that failure is a natural part of life and an opportunity to grow. Remind her that her ambitions are valid, even if the path to achieving them is not always smooth. Celebrate her achievements without adding unnecessary pressure. Women balancing ambition and expectations often feel their successes come with the expectation of even more. Instead of emphasizing future goals immediately, take time to acknowledge and appreciate her current accomplishments. Let her know that her efforts are seen and valued, regardless of the outcome. Another important aspect of this balance is encouraging her to embrace her unique path. Stoicism teaches us to live according to our nature, not according to the dictates of others. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." In her case, remind her to focus on becoming the best version of herself rather than trying to fit into societal molds. This may mean redefining success on her terms, whether that's advancing her career, nurturing her family, or pursuing creative passions. As her partner, model this balance in your own life. Show her how you prioritize your goals while managing expectations with grace. Your actions can inspire her to do the same, demonstrating that it's possible to pursue ambitions while maintaining integrity and balance. Finally, remind her that balance is not about perfection, but about continual adjustment. Life's demands and priorities change, and so should her approach. Encourage her to regularly reflect on what's working and what's not, making adjustments as needed. Stoicism is about adapting to life's circumstances without losing sight of what truly matters. By helping her balance ambition with expectations, you empower her to pursue her dreams without being weighed down by guilt or societal pressure. This support strengthens her confidence and creates a partnership built on mutual respect, understanding, and the shared pursuit of meaningful lives. People-pleasing is a behavior many women struggle with, often stemming from a desire to be liked, accepted, or avoid conflict. While kindness and consideration for others are virtues, an excessive focus on pleasing others can lead to self-neglect, resentment, and burnout. For a Stoic, the key is to act in alignment with one's own principles rather than bending to external demands. A Stoic man can help a woman recognize the difference between genuine kindness and unhealthy people-pleasing, supporting her in setting boundaries and living authentically. People-pleasing often arises from a fear of rejection or disapproval. Women who engage in this behavior may say yes to requests they don't want to fulfill, overextend themselves, or suppress their own needs to make others happy. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Help her understand that she cannot control how others perceive her, and that trying to meet everyone's expectations is a futile and exhausting endeavor. True contentment comes from acting in harmony with her values, not from constantly seeking external validation. A key step in addressing people-pleasing is helping her prioritize her own needs and well-being. Encourage her to pause and reflect before saying yes to requests. Ask questions like, does this align with your priorities? Or, will this bring you joy or drain your energy? By considering her own needs, she can make more intentional decisions rather than reacting out of obligation or fear. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot please everyone, nor should we try. Epictetus advised, don't seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do. In this context, remind her that others' reactions are beyond her control. Even the most thoughtful and selfless actions can be met with criticism or indifference. Encourage her to focus on what she can control, her intentions and actions, while letting go of the need for universal approval. One practical way to counter people-pleasing is to help her develop the confidence to say no. Many women find this difficult, fearing it will damage relationships or disappoint others. A Stoic man can support her by reframing no as an act of self-respect rather than rejection. Practice setting boundaries together, starting with small, low-stakes situations. For example, if she feels pressured to take on extra work, role-play a polite but firm response that preserves her boundaries without unnecessary guilt. People-pleasing often involves suppressing one's true thoughts or feelings to avoid conflict. This can lead to resentment and strain relationships over time. Encourage her to express herself honestly and assertively, emphasizing that her voice matters. Share the Stoic perspective that truth, delivered with kindness, is a greater service to others than superficial agreeableness. Seneca observed, I shall never be ashamed of citing a bad author if the line is good. In other words, value authenticity over the need to be liked. As her partner, model healthy boundary setting in your own life. Demonstrate that it is possible to decline requests or express differing opinions without jeopardizing relationships. When she sees you standing firm in your values, she'll be inspired to do the same. Show her that respect is earned through authenticity, not compliance. People-pleasing can also stem from a fear of being seen as selfish or unkind. Help her distinguish between selfishness and self-care. Explain that prioritizing her well-being is not about neglecting others, but about ensuring she has the energy and emotional capacity to give genuinely. When she learns to take care of herself first, her kindness will come from a place of abundance rather than obligation. Remind her of the Stoic principle of living according to nature, embracing her unique strengths and limitations without trying to mold herself to fit others' expectations. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were the last act of your life." Encourage her to act authentically and purposefully, focusing on what truly matters rather than getting lost in the endless pursuit of pleasing others. Lastly, celebrate her progress. Breaking free from people-pleasing habits is not an overnight transformation, but a gradual journey. Acknowledge her efforts to set boundaries, express herself, and prioritize her needs. Reinforce that her worth is not tied to how much she does for others, but to the integrity and authenticity with which she lives her life. By addressing the tendency to people-please through Stoic wisdom, you help her embrace a life of balance, self-respect, and genuine connection. Together, you can build a relationship rooted in mutual support, where kindness flows freely but never at the expense of individuality or well-being. Through the lens of Stoicism, we've explored the hidden challenges many women face and how a Stoic man can support and empower them. From emotional vulnerability and fear of judgment to balancing ambition and overcoming people-pleasing tendencies, each of these aspects provides an opportunity for growth, self-awareness, and resilience. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in understanding, compassion, and mastery over our own minds. As a partner, friend, or ally, Your role is not to fix or control, but to provide steady support, helping her see her innate strengths while navigating her challenges with grace and wisdom. Remember, life is not about eliminating weaknesses, but learning how to transform them into sources of power. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Together you can embrace this journey of growth and create relationships that are rooted in respect, trust, and shared purpose. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content that helps you navigate life's challenges with the wisdom of Stoicism. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And let us know in the comments which principle of Stoicism resonates most with you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.